buzzer. Yeah!
Free. Down to 3. Down to 2. It's a 3. Good! Good! James Harden, a flamethrower!
Sengun. Oh, no.
Well, how about those Houston Rockets, man? I am recording this immediately after the Rockets pull an epic comeback to come back from behind against the San Antonio Spurs on Tuesday night and get what is definitely the most impressive win on the season for the Rockets. They defeat the San Antonio Spurs at home 111-106 after being down by as much as 16 points in this game. Welcome into Red Nation Radio. I am your host, Spencer Nolan. It's great to be with you, as always. Harley is out this week again, but hope to have him back next week as the Rockets are hitting their form right at the right time. We are getting close to the trade deadline. There's rumblings about some moves they can make, but right now, what this team is doing, they're back on track. Now, I'll admit, for the first 3 quarters of this game, I thought this video was going to have a much different feeling to it. I thought this was going to feel like a funeral for me because what the Rockets would have done is against 3 impressive opponents in a row, they would have looked very subpar against them. Against the Thunder on Thursday night, Timberwolves on Friday, a close win, but without Anthony Edwards on the other side. And then what looked like a blowout loss to the Spurs on the way. But the Rockets rallied behind some big performances, mainly, of course, Reed Sheppard. My goodness, came in 12 points in the fourth quarter, was insanely clutch in sparking the comeback. You had good minutes out of Dorian Finney-Smith that won't show up in the box score, but a +9 for him. He was great. Thompson, great defense. And how about old man Kevin Durant putting the clamps on Victor Wembanyama, who had probably the worst game of his season, 5 of 21 from the field, 0 of 7 from 3, and the Spurs started off in the first half making literally everything they shot, and then by the end of it, they were building houses with all the bricks they were setting. A huge, huge must-win game for the Rockets. They come from behind, and I'll tell you this, 15-3 home record defending Toyota Center for the Rockets this year. That does bode well for the postseason. Now, again, we've talked about it already. The Rockets going to have to figure out a way to start winning on the road if they want to contend in the postseason. But step 1 is becoming a great team at home, and the Rockets definitely have it in them to defend home turf very, very strongly. Now, as for the rest of the team, KD, I mentioned his defense, but 7 of 12 shooting, 18 points. He was great. Again, his defense against Victor Wembanyama was amazing. I said it on last week's show. Jabari Smith Jr., he has struggled mightily, but he, again, hits that critical number, that 15-point number, that when Jabari Smith gets 15 points in a game, the Rockets simply win, and if he doesn't, they lose. He hit 17 points tonight, including some very, very clutch, timely baskets in the fourth quarter. One, a great step-up mid-range. He had 2 mid-range jumpers that were very clutch down the stretch. And, of course, a kickback three-pointer, wide-open opportunity from a Kevin Durant assist. Jabari Smith was great in the fourth quarter. We talked about Dorian Finney-Smith and Reed Sheppard. Reed Sheppard, I really think you have to start him. Now, Ime Udoka has not given in to Rockets fans' demands of starting him all season pretty much. He's had a few spot starts here and there. I think the time has come. This win was enough for me that Reed Sheppard should be in the lineup. He can handle the ball better than anyone else on the roster. He's arguably the best shooter outside of Kevin Durant. He probably is the best shooter outside of Kevin Durant. And he might even be better at shooting than Kevin Durant at this stage of his career. But one thing tonight that was worth noting, Reed Sheppard was very, very strong on defense, causing a lot of turnovers, getting in the middle of passing lanes, knocking balls off of guys. He may not be the biggest guy, and he's never going to be a guy that is going to step up and bully someone that's on the perimeter. That's just never going to be Reed Sheppard. But what he can do, he can cause havoc in passing lanes. He can go for steals, gamble smartly. And tonight was an excellent showing from Reed Sheppard. Far from being a defensive liability. Yes, De'Aaron Fox and Dylan Harper were starting to hit some shots on him at times in the fourth quarter. But overall, Reed Sheppard's defense tonight was a huge, huge positive, right? There was a chance I was going to come into this video tonight and talk about how the Rockets, just as good of a team as they were, that there was a clear tier jump between where you would put the Western Conference elite of the Thunder, the Spurs, the Nuggets. I might even throw the Timberwolves with a healthy Anthony Edwards in a tier simply above the Rockets. Not saying that the Rockets are bad, but for a lot of this season, it has felt like the Rockets are just a little bit off from contending. And I don't want to overreact to one win, especially in the immediate aftermath of that, because I'm riding a high right now. It feels good. That was a fun game. Most fun game of the season, best win of the season. But when you start looking at some of the losses that the Rockets have had this year, right? You know, just in recent weeks, you know, you have losses to the Jazz. You have a loss to the Mavericks, to the Pelicans, the Kings twice, the Blazers twice, the Mavs again, right? These are games that if you flip 4 or 5 of those, you go from looking at a Rockets team currently sitting in 4th place with 8.5 games back behind the Thunder. If you flip 5 or 6 of those games, the Rockets are right in contention for the 1 seed. They just have to stop losing these very winnable games down the stretch, and they're going to set themselves up for prime positioning in the playoffs. They still have a chance. They're only 2.5 games back of the second-seeded Spurs, and big win tonight and catching them if they want to go for that. But I think the Rockets are in a very, very good spot right now. They have the trade deadline coming up in a couple weeks. It's going to be interesting to see what they do there. There have been rumors that they are calling around the league and they're offering guys like Clint Capella and Dorian Finney-Smith. And there have even been some rumors that maybe even Sheppard and Jabari Smith could be on the table for the right price. I would have to see what that player and return package would be if we're going to trade one of those guys. Ideally, you move off of Dorian Finney-Smith and or Clint Capella. Although the injury to Steven Adams does complicate things with Clint Capella. Do you really want to trade him? The Rockets rely so heavily on having 2 bigs in their rotation. That is such a core part of what the Rockets do. But the Rockets, they do seem like if they make 1 or 2 moves, and I haven't felt like this in recent weeks if you've watched Red Nation Radio, if they make 1 or 2 moves, I do believe they can contend with the Thunder. Because even the game on Thursday night against the Thunder ended up winning by about 20 points. It was a blowout. But going into the 4th quarter, it was a 2-point game. And the Rockets, the brakes just fell off. The Thunder got hot, which the Thunder are a great team. They are primed to do that. There's a reason why they are 36-8 and 6 games clear of basically the rest of the league. But we saw it opening night. They competed very, very tough with the Thunder. And again, 3 quarters competing with the Thunder to the very end. Of course, things did fall apart. But I don't feel like if the Rockets got into a 7-game series with the OKC Thunder, you know, whether that's first round, second round, however it ends up going, it would, you know, at this point, it would project to be a second round matchup with the Rockets and the Thunders if we got to that point. The Thunders, I sound like my dad. If they got to that point, I don't think I would pick the Rockets to beat the Thunder, but I do think the Rockets are in a spot right now, even currently as constructed, they could compete with the Thunder in a 7-game series. And again, I might just be riding the immediate high off of that epic victory against the Spurs. Comeback fashion. It was a great game. So I might be a little hyped up right now. But I saw that win tonight, and that win, it gave me some hope. It gave me more hope than I had at the beginning of the season that the Rockets truly can contend right now. And I have been wishy-washy on that, but this is the most confident I have felt since before the season started. Since before Fred VanVleet got injured. I now am feeling like the Rockets, again, hinging on the fact that they have to make some moves at the deadline. I do not think the Rockets, as is, can do that, can actually win the Western Conference. But 1 or 2 moves, I definitely think that's in the cards. Whether that's going out and getting another big man, that's acquiring a true point guard to take some of the slack off of him in Thompson and Sheppard when it comes to the ball handling duties. Whatever they need to do, they need to be ringing the phones. They need to be looking at the buyout market. And they need to make some moves here because I do think after this win over San Antonio tonight, and as we look ahead for the schedule upcoming, you've got games against the 76ers coming up, at the Detroit Pistons on Friday, and then back home again for the Grizzlies and the Spurs next week. So a couple of games here against some good teams in the 76ers and the Pistons. Would be very nice to come out of those games with 2 victories, but we shall see. Y'all let me know in the comments, though. How are you feeling after this Rockets comeback victory? And As they are currently constructed right now, do the Rockets have what it takes to not just compete in the West, but do they have what it takes to win the Western Conference? This has been Red Nation Radio. We'll see y'all next time.